Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I promised that I would make a video, well, kind of retracting, but also as an update to my opinion on the Russia-Ukraine war. And this is that video. So in the other video, you will recall that I said that the West should go Joker mode, and kind of hinted that this is going to result in World War III either way, so the West shouldn't have any reservations about committing help to Ukraine. I was wrong. Not in my prescription. I still think that if World War III is inevitable, the West shouldn't shy away from what Russia considers to be an act of war or not, because they've committed innumerable acts of war, particularly against Ukraine in the last decade. But rather my descriptive understanding of the situation on the ground was way off, way off. Now, I think we all knew that the logistics for Russia are very bad, like so bad that they can't hardly fuel their vehicles, and are losing billions of dollars per day into this invasion. However, last night I read some news on the CNN like live updates page, and again today elsewhere, granted in some less reputable sources, but I specifically remember reading it in CNN, and I trust that account as an accurate portrayal of the facts, that Russia is now in so over their head in terms of debt and economic drain that as of yesterday, they can only afford to keep doing this invasion for 10 more days, which means today that makes 9. And because of that, in about a week and a half, it seems like Russia is genuinely going to buckle under the pressure. They are going to be in a hole that they can't climb out of, and this might be the end, once and for all, of Putin's Russia. And I think because of that, that warrants a much more optimistic outlook for me. And and additionally, that the West has been giving drones to Ukraine, so that my comment on the unwillingness of NATO to give jets to Ukraine is kind of moot, because now they have aerial equipment anyway. They have drones that can strike from several miles away. That's all well and good. But really, I was operating under the assumption that Russia could basically afford to hemorrhage for a little while longer than 10 days doing this invasion. But given the ground that they have been making in the past 3 weeks, I think 10 days isn't going to be enough for them to accomplish their objective. And ultimately, now I'm much more comfortable to say that Ukraine just needs to hold out for those 10 days, and then Russia might capitulate without Ukraine having to set foot 1 inch into Russia's territory. Like beyond the Ukrainian border. So ultimately, and look, I know Russia has been bombing civilian targets. They have been committing innumerable war crimes, bombing hospitals, maternity wards, bombing a theater. I don't know if people saw this in Mariupol, I believe it was, that had the Ukrainian, or maybe it was Russian, word for children. It was Russian. The Russian word for children written on either side of it. They bombed it anyway. And I still hold my position that Putin needs to lose in no uncertain terms. He needs to get removed from this mortal coil by his oligarch friends, who probably aren't going to be his friends after this because of how much money he has lost them. But now, it doesn't seem like this is going to erupt into World War III, which is a good thing. So, again, anything I say further, I think risks repeating myself. Russia bad. Russia logistics also bad. Hopefully Ukraine gets through this.